Hi and welcome. Today I'm going to do an exploration of a person-centered, personality-centered relationship compared to a more unconditionally loving, conscious-based relationship or twin flame relationship. So first of all, the 3D person-centered relationship. This one is based on the assumption of a separate sense of self. So it's all kind of about me and what I can get, and the separate self is looking for validation and approval from others. It's looking for love outside of itself, and it's driven or fueled by the desire for accumulation, security, safety, validation, and yet love from outside of itself. So it hasn't realized yet that it is the source of unconditional love for itself. It hasn't tapped into that unconditional supply of love within its own nature. So it's there is the identification with the separate sense of self here. And these, a lot of the assumptions and beliefs and programming is based on the upbringing by parents, society, schooling, and the patterns played out by its parents that it witnessed being played out in the dynamic of its parents. So there is this kind of continuation of the parenting patterns and beliefs and desires and programming, and then it carries that through into its love relationships. So say it could be looking for validation through career. It could be quite ambitious. It's looking for it to accumulate. It's looking to accumulate and consume. And looking for love outside of itself through some of these paths of career, relationship, and wealth. So it's kind of like, what do they say? Love, sex, and money, that kind of thing. So it's looking for, love outside of itself. And then when it gets into a relationship, when this separate sense of self or personality construct finally meets someone that it falls in love with, who is really a mirror, a vibrational mirror for, or match for, where they are at that time in their lives. So whatever their energy, whatever they're emitting through the programs and beliefs is being attracted to them for the purposes of growth and expansion of consciousness. But it doesn't know that, so it's really just looking for the fulfillment, looking for love, but what happens is the other, who's also got these program beliefs and patterns from their parents, they each become a mirror to each other, and trigger each other, and so that some of these limited beliefs can come up to be seen in the light of day. But because the self sees itself as a separate sense of self, and doesn't recognize the process of what's really happening, because it hasn't really developed yet, it will blame the other so-called person outside of itself, because it's identified with everything outside of itself. So it's based on conditional experience as being the source of its unhappiness. So if it becomes unhappy, it looks for the things outside of itself. And as I say, there's no blame here, but it's like it doesn't realize that it is the product of a program, and that it is just playing out the belief systems and patterning of that program. And so it's going to look for all those things outside of itself. Oh, I haven't got a job, I haven't got money, no one loves me, blah, blah, blah. So it's using the reflections to validate its own unhappiness, its own sense of unhappiness, or seeking for that fulfillment. So this can be the cause of many arguments in the relationship, because they don't understand that the other is simply a reflection for them to address some of this stuff, to look at it together. And they don't have the training, so the beings don't have the training in how to do this. They haven't, I'm talking about people that have not started their awakening process, or haven't, don't know what self-inquiry is. So they're completely identified with this separate sense of self, and will blame the other and conditions outside of self. So the foundation of unconditional love of self and all other selves as being one, because we are all one, is absent in this scenario. So the idea of separation kind of perpetuates itself and continues, and the effect of that, the effect of the identification with a separate sense of self, leads to a feeling of deep unhappiness and unfulfillment and sadness and depression and all these other things. So it kind of, the root is in this feeling of not really feeling safe, not feeling safe and secure within itself. So that's, we hear the expression, oh, they're just insecure. So sometimes people will run from one relationship to the next because they're very insecure in themselves, and they're looking for that acceptance from the other. They're looking for the love, really, but they don't realize yet that they have to go on that inner journey themselves and love their own selves first, basically to heal any sense of unlovedness that could have happened in the when they were growing up, because again, the parents are living out their programmed societal programming and patterns. So maybe they weren't, as loving as they could have been with their children, and maybe they were arguing, and because they're based in a separate sense of self, and so the pattern continues from one generation to the next. Okay, so that's kind of like what the 3D person-centered relationship plays out as. So over here, we've got a rundown of the unconditional, kind of more 5D unity consciousness based relationship. It can also be called the twin flame relationship or conscious relationship. So it's where two people, two beings, two entities, whatever, have done some sort of self-awareness work, have done the reflection, self-inquiry, and are basically waking up to who they truly are, and recognizing that they're not their thoughts, they're not their emotions, they're not what, mummy and daddy said they were. They're a free being. Fundamentally, they know they're free, or they're beginning to wake up to the idea that they are free, unlimited, infinite creators. So when they come into relationship, it's based on the spiritual understanding that is beyond the surface level conditioning of a personality. So they're going beyond the mind, emotions and programming, and there can be the base knowledge of universal principles of the law of attraction and vibration and manifestation. So these people might be a bit more aware of the law of attraction, and that they are fundamentally vibrational creatures that attract things in their life based on their beliefs and programs and emotional state. So your beliefs and emotional state attract to you those reflections of that. So they're assuming, though, self-responsibility. They know that they're responsible for what they create. So they've recognized that they are the creator and that they are responsible, and beyond even the I am awareness, they know that they are in connection as the infinite one. They know that they are the infinite one. And so there is this deeper understanding of unity, consciousness, awareness, isness, beingness, just presence. So when they come into relationship with one another, it could be a twin flame relationship. It could be, just a conscious, more spiritual based relationship. When they trigger one another, they recognize that it's a triggered belief or pattern or program, and they know that they're here together to transmute those limiting beliefs and patterns for the purposes of conscious expansion and awareness, to deepen their connection and sense of unity, consciousness and oneness. So by dissolving the past programming, conditioning that comes up in this relationship, there's a kind of deepening journey of unity and oneness, of divine masculine, divine feminine, unifying within oneself, and then coming into union with another through sacred sexuality, okay, and higher states of consciousness to be experienced. So I am all and all is me, or all is the one and all is the one and one is all. This is the kind of core foundation of this type of relationship. Transmuting the need for external validation and approval. So things that might come up in the relationship, for example, let's say jealousy came up, then there would be the awareness of that as being something that was there to transcend. And the two people or two beings can investigate together. It's like you've got a partner, a partner who loves you unconditionally because they recognize you as the source. They don't see you as the person. They've connected with the source within themselves, and they see you as source, and they have that understanding and awareness that anything superfluous that comes up is not who you truly are. So it's just an effect, a residual programming coming up to be identified and dissolved in love, in the space of unconditional love. So yeah, I am infinite being creator, or I am love is the assumption here, or not even the assumption, but just the understanding, and is known and integrated even further as the couple or partners deepen their journey together. Okay, and then in the connection with the intimacy and sacred sexuality as well, that also brings up more stuff to be seen in the light of day, where they can investigate together. And there is this ability to tap into love, bliss, isness, whatever the circumstance. So in this scenario, the individuals know that they create their circumstances or co-create their circumstances, and they're not the victim of circumstance. Whereas the separate self believes that circumstances are the cause of their unhappiness, and so they kind of assume more of a victimhood sense of self. But here there is the transmutation of any sense of victimhood into basically self-sovereignty, unconditional love, I am the creator kind of awareness. And in this sense, there is the cup of it feels like there's a full cup of love. There's a full cup of love because you're overflowing with that unconditional love. You've done the work, and you've reached a place of unconditional love where you want to give. It's all about giving and sharing. Whereas here, the separate sense self is more about what can it get, because it doesn't have that as much of a reservoir, doesn't have that reservoir of source love to tap into. But here, each individual knows that it can tap into that love, bliss, isnness awareness at any point, in any moment even, because they're living more in the present moment here. So yeah, their cups are full and they can give unconditionally, and so this results in more of an equal give and take type of relationship. So conscious partnership or twin flame union is equal give and take, whereas, you know, its journey may have involved lots of one-sided types of relationship. But it's all good, and it's all just about the expansion of consciousness into wholeness. So really that is the journey for each individual. I mean, there is no individual in truth, but for each expression of the infinite one, you know, it goes through this sense of separate self to begin with, and then it comes into a state of wholeness and recognition that I am source, I am the creator, I am one with all, and have the ability to manifest, you know, and all that stuff. And just being infinite awareness, infinite love, you know. So it's like the coming into the awareness of infinite love, because that's who you are. You are infinite love, you are the infinite creator, and you're here to share that and be that in this world and be that light. And you know, what greater opportunity to attract someone who's willing to kind of like walk that path with you, if that's to be on your path. You know, it's not always the case, but so just wanted to kind of do a video on that and share a little bit. So have a wonderful day, and if you're looking for any sort of support on your conscious relationship journey, twin flame journey, you can check out my services on my website, so all the details are below. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.